Hey y'all, hey, we are back for another review of Sisters. We're on season 7, episode 4, entitled Death Becomes Them. At the end of last episode, Mr. Leland, he is one of the partners in the firm. He is also one of the people that led the charge to bring Gary down, as well as tarnish Andy's name because of her connection to Gary. Now, we don't know who he has scandalized, slanderized, all those good words. When it comes to Andy's name, we don't know who he's said this to, but we do know he is now deceased. And so this is what we're going to pick up at in the beginning of episode 4. They are rolling Mr. Leland up out of there on a stretcher, and he is deceased. Fatima and Andy are standing there talking, and Fatima tells her, like, listen, well, at least he can't drag your name through the mud as it relates to, your association with Gary. And Andy's like, don't revel in somebody's death. And she's like, I'm not reveling in it. What I'm saying is, that's one less thing you got to worry about. So let's just, take our wins where they come. And so Andy realizes that, not only is Mr. Leland not going to be there to further drag her name through the mud or begin the campaign to do so, but there's a position that's going to open up at the law firm. The other partners are going to be looking for a name partner, which, like JG Wentworth or some of those, they're looking for a name. So Leland is not going to be a name on the firm anymore because he's deceased. So they're going to be looking for a naming and a managing partner. And so she's now going to be campaigning for that to be her. And so that's going to be her new tasking throughout the season. All right. So Hayden calls it Gary. Mind you, he ain't want nothing to do with Gary not that long ago, but things have changed now that Mr. Leland is deceased. Everybody's on their little scandal thing to try to get that position. So Hayden tells Gary about Mr. Leland dropping dead, and of course he thinks that Andy has something to do with that. Of course, the woman's always at fault, right? Sounds like Andy has something to do. He believes Andy has something to do with it, or he don't really need much proof to believe Andy has something to do with it. Leland was the one leading the charge to hang Gary out to dry. Hayden tells him that. And so Hayden also offers to keep him out of federal prison. He says, listen, I'm the only person that can keep your name, out the paper. I can do you a favor, but you got to be able to do me one in return. And by that, I guess, I'm going to help him out with running for the positions that Leland once had, and he also wants to make sure that he destroys Andy in the process. And of course, that's right up Gary's alley, because at this point, it only makes sense for them to link back up, even though they already got enough going on. But of course, back on the crap that they got going on. All right, we'll head on over to the salon, and the delivery guy, Trey, I think his name is, he brings a package in, and me and Karen had the same reaction, like, I know the hell not Karen, Pam better not be ordering nothing else from this company account. And it's not. She didn't order anything from the company account. She had the components that she needs to make her hair oil. She had them delivered to the store. She paid for them out of her own money. For this time, she took out a business line of credit, and so she's really serious about getting these products up and going. We're sitting here and we're in small talk, and this scene pissed me off, but I'll tell you why when I get to the end of the section, right? And so we found out that Mr. Trey, the delivery guy, not only did he go to college, first in his family type thing, graduated at the top of his class, and all that. And you can see where Karen is visibly taken aback at the fact that she thinks, I don't know how they presume Trey to be a hood dude. I guess we're just introducing that to be his character. He didn't give hood dude whatever that's supposed to give. He didn't give that in any of his interactions. So I don't know how she came to the conclusion that he was just a hood dude. Maybe she's judging him by his employment, but whatever. And he realizes that she was also judging him and wondering how a hood dude like himself could be so accomplished as far as, attending college, graduating college. And he took offense for about a second, but he got right back out of it and said, I kind of look, and he gives the notion like, I kind of look forward to define your expectations of who you think I am as a person. And all of that is fine and dandy. But for me, I would be personally offended, because why are you making assumptions? And first of all, you don't know me. You're not interested in me as a person. Like, none of those are things that are on your radar. But you found out that I went to college and graduated, and now I guess now your level of respect for me has increased. That would have pissed me off, because I'm of the notion like you treat people, you just treat people fairly, you treat people nice, you treat people all these things off jump. I don't know that that's something that people need to necessarily earn. And not only that, you equated him being a hood dude, quote unquote, to being uneducated. And again, that pissed me off because, you know, some of the smartest people that I know are ghetto, hood, whatever it is that you would like to call them. And not only that, education does not equate to anything, as you mentioned in some aspects. It doesn't equate to much because within this episode, you also realize that, hey, you educated, you all these things, and you still ended up with a hood dude for a baby daddy. So not too much on the judgment, right? Okay, all right. Let's move along. Let's move along. Sabrina is at work and she is talking to a customer, and they're at the end of the conversation, and the customer leaves. And Miss Page sachets up, not minding her business yet again. I guess I call her Paige. I don't know. Karen just seems more fitting, but I call her Paige. And she notices that Sabrina didn't tell the customer about their Christmas club or some upcharge type thing, you know, that these corporations have. And Sabrina says, listen, if you weren't ear hustling me and you weren't minding my damn business, you could have told them yourself. And she is so far removed, Miss Page. She was like, well, what is ear hustling? Is that is that a part of the new AAVE phenomenon that's taken the world by storm? I saw a documentary about it. Pissed me off because AAVE phenomenon, it's not a phenomenon. It's a cultural thing. And if you're not in the club, you're just not in the club. That's really what the gist is. And I really wish Sabrina would have kind of ate her up on that, but you know, we at the workplace, we can't get too deep into it. But yeah, AAVE phenomenon, as she called it. And Sabrina's kind of giving her snark at this point. She's telling her, listen, just so you know, I told him at the beginning of the call, not at the end. But if you weren't so busy taking another one of your thousands of smoke breaks that you take every day, then you would have known that I had told him. And she gets all appalled and get the clutch of her imaginary pearls, as white women tend to do. And so she says, No, it's not a smoke break. Those are mental health breaks, or whatever the hell she wants to call them to make herself feel good about the situation. And, you know, before they can get to the end of the little back and forth talk that they got going on, the regional manager, Miss India, shows up with a proposition for the both of them. But we'll get into that, you know, later on in the review. Jordan, he visits Andy at work, and she doesn't want to display too much PDA because the block is hot. It's a lot going on. You know, I don't want to do that because my prior situationship with Gary is already up for discussion, and I just don't want to introduce no more chaos into the workplace. Wise move. I'll definitely say that's wise for you, Andy. Of course, Hayden is eyeballing them through the window because their offices are have glass walls. And he came to check on her and see what happened, you know, with Mr. Leland. He tells her, hey, get your stuff. We about to get up out of here. I'm going to get you out of the office. And she assumes that he wants her to quit so he can whisk her away to get away from all of this. And it was a bold assumption, girl, because he just really wanted to take you to lunch. And one thing that I have in my notes about this section is her response to Mr. Leland's passing. You know, she didn't want Fatima to revel in the fact that the man had passed away. However, this scene told me that she should have went home, not for the sake of going home, but for like a mental health day. Like literally, she was there when the man took his last breath. He was in her office, and she's back to work as usual, like 5 minutes after they rolled the body out, as if nothing has happened. Girl, that is traumatic. I mean, whether you like the man, whether you knew him, whatever it is, you literally saw someone take their last breath in front of you at the foot of the same desk that you are now sitting trying to be productive at. Girl, I would have to go. Y'all would have to get a social worker or somebody in to come talk to me and these employees to make sure we're good. Those things are traumatic and they are triggering, and you are still doing that black woman thing where you push through and you continue to work, because she does give some language in this section where she says, you know, I'm not going to quit my job. I'm going to push through. You know, I work too hard for this company and I got to keep proving herself. And that is disheartening. Unfortunately, it is the way that the world operates, but something about that scene kind of really triggered me because, girl, go home, hell, for the rest of the week, for the rest of the month. Like, your boss just died in front of you. Who gives a damn about proposals or whatever it is that you need to be putting together, girl? Just go home and get you some rest. Hayden is still on the phone giving Gary the play-by-play on Andy's business and not minding his. And he tells Gary that Jordan and Andy are headed to lunch. And Hayden also tells him that Andy probably didn't put the feds on his trail because she seems just as rattled as everybody else in the office. And of course, Gary's like, no, she's a very good pretender. She's got all y'all fooled. Like, he's just on this thing with Andy. He's not going to let it go. And while he's standing there plotting and planning, Penelope rolls up and he's like, and she's like, well, who are you talking about? Like, who are you plotting against? And so that's going to further unfold within the episode. So we'll get back to that. Paige is hating on, like, low-key hating on Sabrina while they're standing there talking to India. And so she's like, well, no, Sabrina just got back to the branch. She just got back to work. So I'm sure she's not capable or she's not prepared to take on any new taskings right now. Basically trying to snake her way into whatever the proposal is that India has for them. Mind you don't even know what the proposal is, girl. You don't know if it's trash duty. You don't know what it is that you dying to get. But one thing about them people, they're going to snake you real quick when it's going to prepare them further than where they need to be. So she was already on her crap from the beginning. And India tells her, like, hey, let Sabrina speak for herself. And you let her decide if she wants to take on the task. And you let her tell me that she's ready or not. So you just let her speak for herself and be quiet. And she tells them that there's an opening for a branch manager. I think at another location, can't recall, and that her and Paige are already on the managerial track, when it comes to their career paths, and that she thinks both of them should qualify and, compete in Corley and may the best woman win. They both were going to put their bid in, and we're going to go from there. So now the game is on. So now Paige and Samantha, I'm sorry, what did I call it, Samantha? Paige and Sabrina are in equal footing, and they're about to compete for the same position. And I hope Sabrina show her ass up so she can be just as snarky and as nasty to Paige as Paige has been to her. That's just my hope. I don't give a damn. I know tit for tat. Get even. That's my goal. That's my mantra. All right. Mama Lisa is sitting there talking to Karen. She comes to talking to Karen. Karen is kind of checked out because she can't believe, well, she's kind of upset at the fact that she prejudged Trey, and she assumed he was just a regular old hood dude, whatever that is, when he really is educated. Lisa confirmed, like, yeah, it's not far-fetched, for you to be judgmental because, girl, you're a snob. You're a snob, and this is the part of the episode where they, where she comes to the realization, like, well, if I'm so snobby, if I'm so uppity, if I'm all these things, how did I end up pregnant by Zach? And they just looking at her like, girl, we don't know. Your guess is as good as ours because, child, how did you get knocked up by Zach is the question. Oh, God. All right. So we're going to move on. Danny and Zach are sitting there talking at the airport. And we got to remember that Danny and Zach are friends outside of the friend girl group because they used to work at the same place. So he wants her opinion because, that's your girl and you my home girl. You kind of in the middle. What you think I should do? About asking Karen for another paternity test. He tells her that the test just confirmed that Aaron was not the father, but it did not confirm me to be. And so for us to keep investing and pouring into this child that's coming, I think I need to test. And Danny knows that it's less about Zach than it is about Fatima wanting the test. And so she knows that Karen is going to hate it. She's not going to be excited about it, with the coming over the fire, having the baby coming. With everything she has going on, him asking for a paternity test is probably going to send her back to the moon. And so he's like, okay. And then she was like, I know it's going to be upsetting for my homegirl, but also I don't want you to be a fool and raise somebody that is not your child. Like, I don't want you to get that deeply involved. So my suggestion is you should ask her. It could be a bad idea, but I still say ask for the test. And so that's just the last little confirmation, the last little battery that Zach needs in his bag to go ask Karen for this paternity test. Now, his approach, it was a total ass, but He's gonna ask her eventually. All right. Fatima storms into Hayden's office, and she sashays in. Child, she just must have been on one for about 5 seconds. She came and put her feet up on the desk, and she told him, listen, I'm just here to antagonize you and just piss you off because, that's what I enjoy doing at this point. And she's also there to warn him to leave Andy alone. She knows that he's going to go for the management and the partner position as well. And he was like, okay, fine, but what business is it of yours? Because you're not a voting member. What is it that you want to do? Just glorified secretary? He's just diminishing what she does for a living. And she tells him, like, listen, I might not be a voting member, but what I am is a member of a family that's willing to break both your kneecaps. So you don't have to even worry about being able to come to work. So keep that in the back of your mind. And I did it before and I'm willing to do it again. So just consider yourself warned. And so, he looked a little frazzled at the end of the conversation because he really know that Fatima is willing to go, to the gutter with him. So you tread lightly, but you've already put you've already put the order out there by putting the barrier in Gary's back. So it's kind of too late to back out. So you got to see it through, unfortunately, for your kneecaps. All right. Penelope tells Gary. And so Penelope is there on a mission. We've already picked that up. And so she has to she has to pull in what, that little anger that she let slip out. And so she tells Gary, you don't have to explain yourself to me. That's my bad, dog. I didn't have the right to walk up on you at your job. And, of course, it's just a business call, right? And he's blown away, by her brand new attitude that she has today. And he's like, listen, what brings you by? Like, it's strange that you're here. What's up? And she claims that she came by to discuss their situation. Like, they have a baby on the way. They're living in 2 separate places. Let's pull it together. And, they're both laying their little games on pretty thick to get back in each other's good graces. And so that's the game that we're going to play in the meantime. Okay. Meanwhile, Hayden calls in a panic. He calls Zach because he realizes that not only are we going to have to take Andy down, use your powers to help me get these positions, we're also going to have to take Fatima down. He says neutralize. He wants her off the map. He wants to neutralize Fatima because she knows powerful people that's willing to break kneecaps, and he's trying to tie up all the loose ends so he can get exactly what he wants out of everything. It's really not gonna work that way, but we're just gonna go through it to get through it. All right. While Gary steps out to finish the conversation with Hayden because Hayden is, he's worked himself up into a tizzy. While he's outside talking, Penelope gets to snooping around, and she stumbles upon information, but initially, she went there to try to find something that can help her keep Gary away from their baby. That's what her goal was when she came in there being all, real fake nice. And she stumbles across a fake passport with a fake name on it, which means Gary is probably about to get the hell on up out of Dodge. And she has no idea, who she done got tied up with. And she's got to, figure out what's going on. She calls Andy. She tells Andy, like, listen, Gary is leading, hell, at this point, it's a triple life, a double life. It's just a whole lot of lives going on when it comes to Gary. And she tells him that he has a passport with a different name on it. And now she's scared. Like, she's physically afraid of Gary because she don't know what the hell he's capable of. She's like, listen, should I steal the passport? And he's like, no. Big fish, big picture. What you need to do, take a picture of it and send it to me. Put it back where you found it. And so she rushes and she gets that done. But Gary is coming back into the room, so she needs to put everything back together and act like nothing happened. She found the fake passport, but I really wish she had found that life insurance policy and the things that he stole from her. But we'll just hope that that's going to be enough to, keep her safe and keep her information protected from what he's already done to it, hopefully. All right. Zach literally walks into the salon. Pam's trying to talk, trying to speak to him. And I don't want to hear it. I don't want nothing to do with it. I mean, salon looks nice. Should have burned the other one down sooner so you can get something as nice as this with Karen. Like, he walked in with that type of energy, right? Karen comes wobbling out the back. She's like, I'm here. If you're here for the salon warming, opening or whatever, sir, you are an entire day late and $1 short. So what is it that you want? He tells it like he just there to stand on big business. He there to stand on big business. And he literally just burst out, hey, Karen, I'm gonna go ahead and give me that DNA test, my boy. Let me go ahead and get that about you. And everybody just standing there looking around like, what the hell? Like, just puts it on the floor, salon full of people, just all types of out of control. And so, of course, that's just going to turn into this big issue. But that is how the episode ends. Next week, what we got going on next week? Next week, we see that Danny's back in therapy. Let's insert a round of applause for her. Mr. Delivery Guy Trey comes to Karen's defense. I guess he's about to, brace up at Zach and try to figure out why he's talking to his potential girl so tough. And Gary, Mr. Gary is spouting so far out of control. He is snorting the powder. And he also has a gun and he's about to shoot somebody. Doesn't appear to be Jordan or Andy. It looks like one of the partners or somebody else that had something to do with the feds being on his trail. So, things are about to get real out of control with SISTAS. So that is it. That's been the episode. Whole lot going on. Action about to pick up. Let me know what y'all think about the episode. Drop your opinions in the comments and we'll talk about it. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.